Okay, so in this example here, I'm going to demonstrate the PMT function, which is used to calculate compound interest. And we'll use an example here where I am borrowing $200,000 for a home loan. Let me move this up a little bit so you can see this. All right, and I'm going to borrow over 30 years, which is pretty standard for mortgages. All right, so let me put this into currency. All right, and I'm going to shop interest rates. All right, and there's all sorts of financial tools for when a person purchases a home and is putting together a mortgage where they can get lower interest rates if they, buy points and other, interesting financial tools like that. So I'm going to do this little exercise here with some interest rates. And I'm going to compare interest rates at, let's say I can get something as low as 3.5%. Okay, and we'll do every half point here. All right, 4%, 4.5%, 5%, 5.5%, and then we'll go all the way up to 6%. Okay, zoom out just a hair. Okay, so we can get all that on one page. And of course, all these I want to show them as percent, so I'll go ahead and change my way that's displayed. And I want to show the half, so let me increase my decimal. Okay, now let's calculate monthly payments now. And then I'm going to take this, and we'll use a little cell references here too to demonstrate how we can use an absolute and a relative reference to make all this work. All right, so my PMT function, I say equals and then PMT, and what's kind of nice, if you notice what's coming up here on the screen, is it describes the function as I go through there. So it says calculates the payment for a loan based on constant payments. All right, so first we calculate the rate. All right, and the rate is the interest rate. I'll go ahead and grab that. And compound interest, when we make our payments, we always do monthly payments. All right, so our interest rate is based upon a yearly expense, and we're borrowing monthly, so we need to figure out our monthly. Okay, so that'd be the interest rate divided by 12. All right, and that's our rate. All right, and in a period, we're borrowing for 30 years, but again, we have monthly, so I'm going to multiply that by 12. Okay, because we know there's 12 months a year. So actually, on a 30-year loan, I'm making 360 payments. Okay, so that's why I multiply that by 12. And then lastly, the PV is the principal, or the amount you borrowed. All right, and with PV, we could also use the PMT function to calculate savings. Here we're borrowing money. All right, we're borrowing money. That's really a negative activity for us. So I'm going to go ahead and put a negative sign in front of that. All right, and then I'll grab my principal, which is up here in cell B2. All right, so there's my formula. I'll have to close my parentheses there, but I take my interest rate, divide it by 12 to make it a monthly rate from a yearly rate or an annual rate. I'll take my years that I'm borrowing from and multiply it by 12, okay, to indicate that I'm making monthly payments. And then I take my principal and I put a little negative sign in front of it just because I'm borrowing. All right, let's see how that comes out. So my monthly payment, approximately, for a $200,000 loan at 3.5% interest over 30 years, I'd make a monthly payment around $900. All right, well, that looks good. Let me do this now. I want to take my fill handle, and I'll make a mistake here. I'll just drag across here, and I'm going to get all sorts of funky results that aren't correct. In fact, I'm dividing by 0 and some other problems. So I'm going to go ahead and change my formula here slightly to use relative and absolute references. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead, and my principal never changes. So I'm going to go over here and I'm going to hit my F4 key and make that an absolute value. All right, my term, or the years that I borrow, whoops, little mistake there, we'll correct that. The years that I borrow, which is over here in, is it B3? Okay, we want to make that absolute as well. All right, so I hit my F4 key. Versus B4, we want that to change to B5 or C5, D5, or I'm sorry, C4, D4, E4 right across there. All right, and so that we're going to leave our interest rate, we'll leave that as a relative reference. All right. So I've changed those, and of course my value doesn't change here, but when I use my fill handle and pull across, all right, I can compare interest rates. Now note, see I get pound, pound, pound across here? That simply means that my column's not wide enough to show this number. Okay, and if you look at this number, this is probably going to be over 1,000, so there's an extra digit. And if I just widen this out a little bit, you can see it's there. Another way I can widen out my columns is I can select them all and choose my column width and just make that, I don't know, let's just try 11. All right, that seems to work. Actually, that's a little too wide. Let's try 10. That works, and I want to even go just a little column width. We'll go 9.5. Maybe that'll do it. Nope, I'm still a little wide, but that's okay. I'll just bring this down. All right, so now I got an opportunity here. If I am shopping, I want to analyze what we did here. If I am shopping interest rates, you see there's a substantial difference in my monthly payment, and of course we could figure this over the life of the loan too, between getting a loan at 3.5% versus 6%.